one of the very nicely written article. So this article is published in the context of again a second wave of COVID-19. Okay, COVID-19 is coming back again, right? In certain countries, in fact, countries like UK, they have announced lockdown also one more time, right? As there is a number of cases rising because of this COVID-19, and also the upcoming is the winter season. So both these reasons might lead to again the substantial rise of COVID-19 cases. So in this context, the article discussed about how well India is to tackle this problem. Is India ready to deal with this upcoming second wave of COVID-19? At present, how good it is in dealing with the problems. In fact, the article discussed about the drawbacks that are present in the Indian healthcare system, and also what should be done to resolve these problems, to resolve the drawbacks or flaws that are present in our India. What we have to do, what steps should be taken. So these are the recommendations that have been given in the article. So let's look at this article in detail. Introduction. So in the introduction paragraph, the points that are mentioned are second wave of COVID-19 and the upcoming winter season, already discussed. And despite that, ironically, there is no sharp reaction from the public as well as the governments. Means, unlike when there was an outbreak of COVID-19 for the first time, now countries all over the world have become absolutely alert, and they have imposed lockdowns, and very strict enforcement of rules have been observed. But as time passes by, we have been relaxing the lockdown norms, isn't it? Now, despite knowing that there is a chance of again COVID-19 cases coming up, there might be rise in number of cases also. Government as well as public are not very much bothered about this. That is what the desensitization essentially speaks about, right? It also applicable to India's disaster management framework. Now let's look at what's wrong with the disaster management act in India with respect to this public health issue. Now the article says that generally disaster management, before it was introduced in 2005, if at all there are any kind of disasters, our approach was essentially reactive and ad hoc. For example, if there is some kind of disaster like tsunami or cyclone, before 2005, means before the introduction of Disaster Management Act, we don't have any systematic approach how to deal that disaster, and what measures should be taken. We don't have any systematic approach. But after 2005, means after Disaster Management Act, we have introduced very systematic approach, that is prevention, mitigation and response. Means how to deal a disaster, if at all a disaster is going to be expected, how should we prevent, what kind of measures should be taken. Prevention measures. Mitigation means reducing that impact of the disaster, how do you respond in future. So this is a organized systematic approach. But yes, disaster management in theory it is very excellent, but the article says that when it comes to the public health issues, for example, COVID-19 is a public health issue. Disaster Management Act has absolutely failed. Again, it is following the same old methodology, that is reactive and ad hoc methodology. Ad hoc means you will take an action but only for temporary time, ad hoc measures. Okay, so which is not again very good for any kind of disaster management. Now, in the next paragraph, the article has spoken about the drawbacks that are present in the private sector. So in India, it is speaking with respect to India. In India, the government cannot too much depend upon the private sector because there is a weak regulation, poor organization. That's the reason, lot of private organizations are, particularly in COVID-19 situation, they have charged prices like anything and they have exploited public, right? Now, in certain hospitals, they have charged something like 1 lakh per day to give treatment for COVID-19, right? So that is what we mean by poor, weak regulation. There are no regulatory norms. Even though there are regulatory norms, enforcement of them is very difficult. Organization is very poor and heavy exploitation by imposing high charges. And one more thing is, there is a concept of public health insurance. Public health insurance means now government will provide health insurance to the citizens, to the eligible citizens, so that they can visit any private hospital and get treatment there, and the entire treatment expenditure will be bear by the whom? The government's insurance program, health insurance program. So one of the reputed and familiar health insurance that is at present in the state of Telangana, we have the Aarogyasri, right? Aarogyasri is one of the most reputed health insurance scheme. Or else within central government we have something called Ayushman Bharat. So these are called health insurance schemes, right? Now many private hospitals, the objective of the public health insurance is very good, but the problem is many private hospitals are not eligible for being included under the public health insurance because they need to maintain certain criteria like infrastructure, number of beds. So if at all a hospital qualifies these parameters only, then it will be included under that public health insurance program. Infrastructure, number of beds and number of doctors and equipment available in the hospital. Now all these criteria will decide whether that hospital will be part of public health insurance or not. So many private hospitals, being very small in terms of their investment, in terms of infrastructure, they are not included. That is one impediment or challenge. And one more crucial point is, even though the other private hospitals are present, they give priority to not these public health issues like corona or tuberculosis, okay, or dengue. They won't give priority to treat this kind of diseases because they will not yield high profits to the hospitals. I'm telling about in the long term situation, okay. In long term, these diseases treatment in these diseases will not yield any profits. Why? Because private hospitals, since they prefer only lucrative, means very high yielding business, high profit yielding treatments and high end cold cases, they prefer only these cases because they give lots of profit to them. That means private hospital, we cannot depend upon private hospitals for the purpose of providing treatment in public health issues like these corona, tuberculosis, dengue. That's what the author is trying to tell. So therefore, now what is the solution available? The solution is nothing but we should strengthen the public sector capacities. Means we should be able to develop our own public sector infrastructure like hospitals, right? Medical equipment. Government should incur expenditure in improving number of hospitals, medical equipment, more doctors should be provided, right? More budget should be allocated for medical issues. So this is what strengthening the public sector essentially means. Understood? Right. Now, apart from that, the article also discussed about integration of the public health care with the primary care. What do you mean by integration? Integration means, see, primary health care essentially indicates, it includes something like multi-sectoral action, community engagement, disease surveillance, essential health care provision. All these things are included in primary healthcare system. So the article says that if at all in India we could able to integrate the disaster management with the public health, with the primary healthcare system, so that disaster management implementation will be more and more effective. Okay, implementation is more and more effective. That's what the article says about. Okay, why? Because primary health care essentially, as I have mentioned all these points, if you look here, there is a engagement at community level, means people's participation will be there. People's participation. So for example, what exactly I am trying to say here, take the case of COVID-19. If at all the Disaster Management Act under COVID-19, if they cover COVID-19 under public healthcare system, so at present COVID-19 is under disaster management only. But if you could able to club this disaster management with public healthcare, now this COVID-19 will be dealt more effectively. People's participation. What do I mean by people's participation? More awareness will be brought to the communities, right? That hygienity, everyone will strive for hygienity, cleanliness, and will give awareness about wearing masks, etc. And disease surveillance. So disease surveillance means, so if at all there is a people's participation, we could track down how many number of corona cases on ground are coming up every day, so that prompt action will be taken. So if the disaster management is integrated with primary care, means that is at grassroots level, the public health care will be more effective, so that we could able to deal with this COVID-19 like pandemics more effectively. That's what the article is trying to say. So for that the article has mentioned a best example, National Health Mission also. So that is all about this article. So in this article we have discussed about introduction of the COVID-19 in the paragraph, why again there is a concern about COVID-19, and what kind of approach is there at present by the world as well as by countries like India, and what are the drawbacks in the private sector, and also measures. For example, here I have mentioned the necessity of integration with primary care. Okay, so public health issues such as tuberculosis and dengue outbreak is there. So if at all the disaster management could able to integrate primary care, we could resolve these problems very easily, because it includes disease surveillance, essential services, multi-sectoral action, everything. An example of National Health Mission is given here, right? That's it. Okay, thank you.